Happy Saturday. We got another know-it-all when it comes to a HELOC. Let me go through his comments as I wait for my daughter's game. First, you want to say there's no tax advantage to using a HELOC, which is totally false. If the only thing you're hanging your head on is mortgage interest, you're playing at such a small level when it comes to the tax game. With your HELOC, you can make other investments, buy a business, buy more real estate. There's a lot of other ways that you can take deductions than just mortgage interest. Then if you're going to be a know-it-all, can you use the right spelling for principal, please? And I will say this again, when it comes to the HELOC, the first lien HELOC, there is no payment. When the first of the month rolls around, you don't get a separate payment that you have to make on this loan. All we're doing is we're putting money into this HELOC, which has a checking account that comes attached to it. Every deposit you make reduces your principal balance dollar for dollar, whether you deposit $1,000 or you deposit $100,000. Once the money is swept over into the HELOC, it reduces the balance, which then reduces the interest that you're paying, since interest is calculated daily. Then he wants to say, add more payments to your principal balance. Does that shave off time? Yes, absolutely it does. The problem is that most of you will never realize the savings that you're trying to create for yourself. Reason being, the average homeowner stays in their property maybe 6 to 10 years. So even if you took a 30-year mortgage down to 20 years, when did you realize that savings? When you sold your house? Great. Well, what was the point of putting all that money into your home? That money sits into your house like a secured piggy bank. You can't touch the money. The only way you get the cash out is if you call the bank or you call a loan officer and you say, I want to refinance or do a HELOC. Then what was the point of taking out money if you need the cash that you have? And that's the problem that most people face. They don't have a big enough rainy day fund that they're going to put a meaningful amount of money into their mortgage to actually realize the savings. Or they look at it and say, look, I'm putting $500, $1,000 into my mortgage. You know what? Instead of paying off my house, I'd rather go try and make more money. It's not a safer play. That's a play that we've all been brainwashed with, and that's the only thing for most people we can actually understand how it takes to pay off a mortgage. But if you're open-minded and you actually listen to my videos, I show you how a first lien HELOC works. That's the problem with the world we live in today. We've all been brainwashed with like one idea. If it's not that one idea, it's a scam, it's bullshit, it's whatever. You don't even want to try to understand it. If you can understand how an amortization schedule works, and then if you understand daily interest on the HELOC, those two factors are totally different, and you understand why the HELOC works. This is simply math. A lot of these guys that always talk shit on my videos, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Think about your current banking scenario. When you get paid, your money sits in your checking account and does nothing. If the money gets paid, deposited into the HELOC, you've effectively reduced your balance that day. And now let's say you owe $100,000 and you made $10,000. You're paying interest on $90,000. And even if you use the HELOC to cover your expenses, which is what we teach, which is what I explain. So let's say you had $7,000 in bills. So you still paid your mortgage down by $3,000 and you're paying less interest than the $100,000 that you started at. Conversely, think about an amortization schedule. The bank is telling you this is how you're going to pay us back from the jump. And in the beginning portion of your mortgage, 60, 70, 80% of your payment is all interest. So when you're adding extra principal payments, does your payment ever go down? No, it doesn't. You know why? Because you're paying the same set schedule that the bank has predetermined for you. And where does the savings come back? It comes on the back end of your mortgage going from 30 years to 25 years to 20 years. That's not exciting for most people because why? Because like I said before, you're not going to stay in the house long enough to realize those savings. Be open-minded, understand the difference between the amortization schedule and what daily interest is. That's all it is. Once you understand that, you know the HELOC works. Plain and simple.